Oh, here we go again. Another coronavirus story. Well, the virus that won't go away, as in literally will never go away, is still with us. And the Omicron, or as President Joe Biden has been calling it, the Omicron variant, is with us in Poland. So this is the news that Poland will introduce a set of new coronavirus restrictions owing to the fast spread of the new Omicron virus. Adam Niedzielski, whose surname, etymologically speaking, I guess is connected to Sunday, Nigella, says the new restrictions have been enforced from December the 1st to December the 17th, but may be prolonged. If one of the things that's been happening with this COVID thing you may have noticed is that every time they bring something in for just 2 weeks, it always seems to end up as a little bit longer. I think we're coming up in the second year now. So, like many countries, Poland is sensibly, you may have another opinion, banning flights from 7 African countries, including South Africa, although reports over the last few days have indicated the Omicron variant tends to be mild and possibly, I'm no epidemiologist, but possibly isn't the cause of concern. And quarantine for people traveling to Poland from outside the EU's passport-free Schengen zone will be extended to 14 days if they are unvaccinated, with a possibility of release after a negative test taken no earlier than 8 days. So you have to quarantine for 8 days. And there's also a 75% customer gap, which I didn't even know about, in cinemas, theaters, restaurants and bars, hotels and churches. It's going to be tightened to 50%, but not for vaccinated people. Well, I got my jab the other day, so I'm boosted, although it hasn't turned up in the app. And I was lucky enough to go on a short break with the missus to Rome. And we flew to Italy, where I have to say, the Italians are taking the virus restrictions much more seriously. So masks on everywhere. And checking your green pass, as it's called, the vaccine certification stuff in restaurants and everywhere you went, go into a museum or a public place, got to whip out your certification, prove. Now, I think we all fell into line in the early days. Many people, including myself, I have sympathy for this argument, are looking at the effects on liberty and wondering about what the psychological long-term ramifications of all of this will be on people. Coming into now yet another Christmas where, again, people are living in fear and maybe cancelling plans to meet loved ones, recognizing how important that is. So this is the news that Poland is, like many other countries, just playing it safe. But here we are. I've said this before in other episodes of What's Up Poland. It's not about just not dying. It's also about remembering how to live. And there's a balance there. Totally understand. We've got to protect our people. The data is showing that the fourth wave we're having in Poland right now, the deaths are absolutely tragic, but again, is showing that link between people who are vaccinated and deaths is much lower. And I believe of one hospital, I think from the health minister, of 500 or so deaths, 75% coming from people who are unvaccinated. So my personal view is that the vaccinations are very sensible, very logical, tested up and as far as it can be at this stage. There's medical consensus over that and is the right thing to do. But it was all for a reason, which was to open the economy up. Now, there have been some discussions talking about whether Poland's ruling party at the moment is wary of putting any further restrictions in because the kind of people who support it, this is the comments here from observers, are the kind of people who aren't such great fans of restrictions. I'm not sure about that. Some people in the Polish government said, we Poles, we're just rebellious nature. There's something I quite like about the Poles' rebellious nature. It has its plus points and its minus points, but there's something I sneakily admire in it. As I went around Italy and everyone was kind of, getting to that point where they're walking around in a park on their own with a mask on, which kind of doesn't make a huge amount of sense. There's a little bit of me which admires that streak of stubbornness in the Poles, which if you read books, for example, in the Second World War and stuff, like you see it mentioned, for example, by other British armed forces people and stuff. They talked about it with 303 Squadron in the early days, quite difficult to deal with, perfect kind of people you want on his side. So maybe we are seeing that now. Maybe there is something in that. Or maybe Poles just don't understand what the risk is. Maybe I don't understand what the risk is. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Omicron's something to worry about? Poland's tightening the ship, locking up its doors, and who knows what will be there for Christmas. If you want to check out more stories about coronavirus, COVID, Omicron, or any of the other Greek alphabet letters, apart from the other two that got mysteriously skipped, some reason. I can't see why, but one was skipped. Then all you have to do is check out this channel wherever you find it. It's What's Up Poland, part of the First News, the premier English language platform for Poland. So you're going for another episode.